Well, I changed my mind. There was one thing that was in the sidebar that I found kind of interesting, which was discrimination. If you're an atheist or a non-believer, which is the same thing, um, have you been discriminated against? And I'd say for the most part, in my case, no. Um, I'm very lucky because my mother, although she did make me get confirmed as a Methodist, we kind of had a deal worked out where once I was confirmed, she'd leave me alone about religion. She's been really good ever since about never bringing it up again. In fact, when I bring up the subject, she quickly changes the subject. My own personal opinion is that I know a lot more about it than she does, and she doesn't want to have to think about it. She just wants to go to church on Easter Sunday and feel like a good Christian, which is fine. I mean, whatever makes her happy. It's my mother. I'm not going to, try to make her uncomfortable over an issue like that, My grandmother one time, I've never even seen her in a church besides for like weddings. One time she kind of corrected me. She chided me when I was making fun of my Mormon sister-in-law. Because, well, she was actually kind of pushing her religion on me, and I kind of knew a little bit about it. Well, anyways, my family's never, given me any problem over it. In fact, they tend to avoid the subject, which maybe makes me kind of like those creepy religious people, talking about something they don't care about, So, but, in my favor, I have my father who's basically an atheist. He's a non-believer, and he's pretty outspoken about it. So maybe that's where I got my lack of belief. I don't know what happened to my brother, but anyways. As far as professional problems, I did have a supervisor that was a newly converted Catholic, and when I told him I was not religious, I was an atheist, he told me it was unacceptable. At this time, he was a sergeant. I was in the Air Force. And I kind of got in his face about it because in the military, you're not supposed to proselytize at work. I mean, it's frowned upon. Once in a while, an officer does get away with it. But I think if you pulled it into the UCMJ, the Uniform Code of Military Justice, it'd be messy, and nobody wants that, basically. They don't. I mean, the military can't come out and say, well, we favor Christians above people of all other, stances on religion. So, not a good thing. So, basically, I haven't had too much trouble. Now, in my current capacity as a hospital administrator, I do work with a Baptist minister. He's not exactly in my office, but he's in my section. So we used to be real buddy-buddy, but one time I was kind of joking around, joshing around, and I said something fallacious, and I go, I'm just kidding. He goes, well, it's still a lie, and that's still a sin. And I got real cold, and I said, well, I'm not religious, and you knew the context of what I was saying was a joke. So just let's not get into this. And I was real cold about it, and I think I kind of pissed him off, because he knew he wasn't gonna. I don't know if it was a reflexive minister thing where they occasionally guilt trip somebody and all of a sudden he'd been rebuffed or what it was. But after that, his attitude towards me changed, and I remained friendly unless the subject of religion came up again, and then I just basically shut him down and tell him I didn't want to talk about it, because I don't think the workplace is an arena for religious debate. I mean, at my work, we can't talk about politics, and I think religion's, it's work. You're there to work, not to discuss your personal philosophies. on stuff like that. So that's why I come to YouTube, is because I like to argue, I like to debate about these kinds of matters. But this is a hobby, it's not making me any money. So, okay. I wanted to mention the one reason why I will come out and call myself an atheist, which in most people's minds is a pejorative. I know there's this bright movement. I find the term bright a little bit pompous, but I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to distance themselves from a term, atheist, which has a negative connotation in many, many people's minds. And I apologize for my stuttering and stammering. I'm not going to edit this. I'm just kind of tack the raw footage onto the end of the video. Anyways, and I think that's why a lot of politicians, besides that one, I think he's in San Francisco, he's somewhere on the West Coast, there's one person in the House of Representatives who calls himself a humanist. And for obvious reasons. I mean, he's not going to call himself an atheist. He's going to present himself as a non-believer with a positive philosophy. I think the Brights could call themselves humanists. I don't really see why they don't. I think that's, what do you believe in? I believe in humanity. Well, I do too. I see humanity around me all the time. I'm not always impressed with their actions or deeds. But, the humanists are at least trying to be positive. There's some atheists on YouTube, and sometimes this includes myself, that I'm ashamed to be associated with. So, but then other times you'll see some really positive, really good people who are trying to educate other people. And personally, I hope I usually fall into that category. But as far as prejudice goes, if you're kind of educated and you have a background or some kind of knowledge about their religion and you want to talk about certain points with them, I find people are often receptive to that. So, but I don't know, maybe this should be a whole nother video, because I think I could ramble on about this subject forever. So, I'm going to end it here. I apologize for being in my pajamas. We're having a big ice storm here in Missouri, and it's cold. And the gas company has raised their rates over and over, so I refuse to run gas heat. I just use this little electric space heater, and I bundle up. So, yeah, I'm in my pajamas now, unlike when I was trying to look respectable in my work clothes earlier. Okay. Later.